Hello, my name is BTang, and for my showcase project, I decided to determine the effects of the pandemic on the finances of our school district. The purpose of this study is to give a more in-depth understanding to the causes of the increasing debt FBISD has amassed for the fiscal year of 2021. In this presentation, I will go over the consciousness levels of students, how COVID-19 has changed activity in the district, and the future projections of the district. To explain the levels of consciousness, I will go over Dabrowski's theory of positive disintegration. He states that growth occurs through a series of psychological disintegrations and reintegrations, resulting in dramatic change to a person's conceptions of self and the world. An important theme of this theory is the movement from an initial egocentric approach to life to an altruistic one. The Gnostic concept of hylics, psychics, and pneumatics is reinforced by this theory. A hylic is described as someone who is unwilling to think for himself, as it means corporeal or material. A psychic is a person who decides to work on freeing himself from ignorance and seek knowledge, which is why creative instincts emerge at this level. A pneumatic cares about himself outside of the material world, which explains the self-perfection instinct that develops. In order to go through these stages of development, one would need to go through integration, whether positive or negative. Students in low-income neighborhoods often do not adopt a strong work ethic or a sense of value in education. They do not see value or beauty of hard work in the adults around them. Subsequently, the social climate and the academic performance of the school suffers and continuously produces underperforming students to perpetually inspire a negative association to effort. INC is an acronym for Intentionally Refined Complexity, which is a scale that measures potential of complex thought and work in a person. The higher the level of disintegration a person is at, the higher level of complex thought will be possible in that person's mind. The natural order of living is to return to nothing, because anything that lasts will succumb to the natural deterioration of entropy. The second law of thermodynamics states that the total entropy of an isolated system can only increase or remain constant. Like animals, humans are naturally driven by impulse, and that impulse is self-destructive or egocentric. So how do students impact district spending? The fiscal year of 2021 has put FBISD into more debt than the years before. As we all know, student attendance is an important source of revenue to the district and the schools, not to mention advertising and concessions. Luckily for the students, exemptions will not take into account their attendance or truancy. Allocation of funding for laptops, hotspots, and orders placed for masks, gloves, infrared thermometers, the daily monitors, and sanitizer has added to this debt. The difficulty in taking attendance has been affected by the split between face-to-face and virtual learning, which takes away the priority of attending class. The difficulty in taking attendance has been affected by the split between face-to-face and virtual learning because it takes away the priority of attending class. Students have been less engaged than they were before, so the district does not receive as much funding from the government with the use of AB block scheduling. Failure rates have spiked, and students are less inclined to check or take responsibility for unsubmitted work. A set of recovery coursework called Term Grade Repair is put into place to undo the issues of virtual learning. Schools are not able to generate as many funds as they used to. With less students in the building, the schools individually do not have as much of a base to receive funding from the students. As a result, the school requires funding directly from the activity fund accounts of the district. In campus improvement plans released last month, the creation of more opportunity programs and aid in schools adds more to the budgets for every school. As of this year, IT and health budgets have grown, with consideration that money going to transportation and athletics costs have gone down. The district is attempting to maintain a similar operation budget with the use of the COVID relief fund and falling back on the general fund account to supplement their deficits. The budgets set for next year are expected to stay the same as the pre-pandemic year and has been funded for the first 90 days. The district has made payments to employees who have incurred increased expenses due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the form of reimbursements to make up for the spending teachers have given for their virtual students. A competitive compensation package has been added to attract and retain employees due to the surge of unemployment in America. The budget for next year will be normal. However, it will be split 50-50 with face-to-face learning and virtual learning. The improvements and efforts when carried out are not effective and are held in place for each class's succession. Student and teacher engagement, fidelity of implementation, and student outcomes evidence the illusion of improvement. Despite what students have said about their own learning environments, the district has not been lowering budgets, but compensating employees. A consideration of a raise on teachers' salaries have been addressed at monthly board meetings. meetings. As of the 1st of May, Judy Day and Kristen Malone won the 2nd and 6th seats on the FBISD Board of Trustees and will be sworn in as board members in June. Merits according to academic performance will continue to be rewarded through positive reinforcement. Hierarchy by competition between academic and sports performance between schools will persist under the umbrella of school pride. Though we do not intend to change the attitude of students towards learning, we will continue to reinforce the idea that students of good character focus on producing scores to enroll in state colleges. This way, the scores that result will only prove that we do not have to make major changes in our learning environments, because that would be a costly measure. I'd like to thank Mrs. Bryant and Dr. Westwell for supporting my work in the Gifted and Talented Mentorship Program, and to thank Mrs. Silberman and Mrs. Duplachain for giving me the position to shadow them in the Business and Finance Department.